Hello, everyone. I pray that everyone is having a blessed week so far. This is Janetta Yaboa, and I come to you this week briefly to speak to you about staying in the presence of God. God's presence is His glory. You want to stay in God's presence. I love what Moses said in Exodus chapter 33, verses 13 and 18. In verse 13, he says, "Show me your ways, that I might know you." And in verse 18, he says, "I beseech thee, show me your glory." We need to be seeking God's glory like never before. But we can't seek His glory until we enter His presence. And you can't enter His presence with so much confusion and you're distracted. You need to enter His presence. You need to find a place of silence and seek the Lord like never before. You know, when you seek the Lord, you forget all about yourself. When you seek God, you forget about the imperfections. But when you're in His presence, it's just you and Him. It's just you and Him. So everything else does not even matter. You know, I like what the Bible says. With God, I can scale over a wall. Once you get in the presence of God and He gives you a direct download concerning your situation, you can do anything. A lot of times we have situations and they're mountains. You might say your situation is not a mountain, but a mountain is something that hinders you from getting on the other side. So if you are trying to get a promotion on your job or you're applying for a job and it seems like things aren't working there, you can't get that promotion, you can't get that job, you can't get that financial increase, your children are acting up, your money funny, God will give you a direct download concerning your situation. He will tell you what job to apply for. He will tell you when to go. He will have you be at the right place at the right time. He will. So therefore, that mountain has to be removed once you get in the presence of God, because He will tell you which way to go. He will. The Bible says that God honored the word of Elisha when he commanded blindness upon the Arameans. He came to a place where he was with Gehazi and he was surrounded by an army. And he said, "Lord, open his eyes that he may see that it's more of us than of him." He already knew. He was protected. God opened his eyes. He was in the presence of God. Therefore, he knew there was more of us than of them. And therefore, God granted His words that He brought blindness upon the Arameans. It is time to seek the glory of God and His presence like never before. You can't enter His glory and His presence with turmoil, confusion, division, discord. That's another thing, discord. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 6, "A false witness who breathes out lies and who sows discord among his brothers." Don't be that person. Don't be that person who's always creating confusion. Don't be that person that always finds a reason to gossip about somebody on the phone just because they decide that they want to get their life together, just because they decide that they want to seek after God. And maybe perhaps they don't want to seek after God. Maybe they're doing the wrong thing. Instead of gossiping about that person who decided to go the opposite way, who's not walking in the calling of God for their lives, why don't you take that time to pray for that individual? Why don't you take that time to call that individual, maybe give a word of wisdom to them, a word of advice? And if they reject it, fine. But at least you can still pray for them behind the scenes because somebody prayed for you. But it's nothing like staying in the presence of God. You need to seek the presence of God like never before in this time. When you're in God's presence, He will give you a divine direction for your life. Therefore, who says you can't do that thing? Who says that you can't get healed in your body? Who says that you can't get that promotion? Who says you can't get that job? Who says you can't get that house? Who says you can't be debt free? The Bible says I can do all things through Jesus Christ that strengthens me. God never said you can't. He says you can. And greater is He that's in you than he that's in the world. So you don't have to worry about impossibilities. You don't have to worry about mountains because He has given you power to speak unto those things and cast them down. That's why the Bible says whatsoever things are pure, think on those things. Don't think on those things that are impossible. You think on those things that are possible. Even when you have an impossible situation, you declare that it's possible. I pray that you are blessed by this broadcast. If you want to follow me to stay connected with me, you can follow me at JanettaYaboa.com. And I just pray that God will do the impossible in your life, that even as you decide to seek God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your spirit, that God will do the impossible in your life. Be blessed.